Let's start. Learning outcome C. Understand the financial tools used by strategic managers in relation to financial decision making. As we all know, strategic managers and decision making go hand in hand. Means if you are the person who decides the strategy of the company, you definitely have to be a part of decision making. Being a corporate person, you cannot forego financial decision making. For that purpose, it is very important to understand various tools being used to make financial decisions. Now, the question may arise, what is the contribution of financial and management accounting in decision making? See, as we have understood in learning outcome A, that there are three statements of accounts. What are those? First, income statement. Second, balance sheet, also known as statement of position. And third, cash flow statement. It is important for the organization to make all these statements so that strategic managers can use them while taking decisions in the organization. Apart from that, stakeholders of the company, also get to know the financial status of the company. Who all are the stakeholders of the company? Internal employees, owners, external suppliers, creditors, government, etc. So, it is important, if you see, financial statements or financial accounting is important because it supports an organization in a different aspect. It is also important for owners to understand the standing of the company, whether the company is making profits or incurring losses. So, to keep the track of business operations and utilization of funds also, these statements are required, and financial recording of financial transactions are very much required. Also, based on the cash, okay, so if we see the cash flow statement, it tracks, as we have discussed earlier, it tracks inflow or outflow. If the company has enough cash, this statement will show that the company has enough cash. Now, based on the cash that is available to the organization, they can make their short-term decision making Also, a long-term decision making can be planned. Now, what is the question arise? What is short-term decision making? And what is long-term decision making? Let's take an example. Let's take an example that suppose I want to open my startup right now in few months. This type of decision making becomes short term decision making, but I want to go for an investment appraisal, or for example I want to buy a machinery. That is short term, that is short term decision making. What is long term decision making? Any sort of capital expense which will help an organization for a longer period of time is long term decision making. Let's now get into short term decision making. There is a concept of break-even analysis. In short term, it's a tool being used to take the decision. Break-even analysis. So you are analyzing where your break-even will be there. Means a situation which is no profit, no loss situation. Break-even point is a situation which is no profit, no loss situation. No profit, no loss, or you can say that your revenue generation is just equal to your cost, both fixed and variable. To understand the topic, it is very important to understand these terms which is already been taught to you all in learning outcome A. So please revise this before understanding the concept of break-even analysis. The formula for break-even analysis is selling price minus cost price is one thing which is used in it. Here cost price we take only variable cost per unit, and then there is a cost which is fixed cost. So suppose, let's take an example. There are I am doing a business of chairs, and each chair cost me 100 INR. The selling price for each chair is 300 INR. I have a fixed cost of rent which is equal to 200,000 INR. Now I want to apply at what point, means how many units should I sell so that I break even, means I have no profit neither any loss. So the formula would be fixed cost divided by selling price minus variable cost. So in this, my fixed cost is 200,000, my selling price is 300 minus 100. So 200,000 divided by 200 Indian rupees gives me 1000 units. So if I sell these 1000 units, then definitely I am in a no profit, no loss situation. Let's reconcile it. Units sold 1000, selling price to 300, which gives me a total sales of 300,000. My variable cost is equal to 100 into 1000, which gives me 100,000. Now if I see what is my contribution, we call it contribution is equal to 200,000. Now from here I will deduct my fixed cost, which is equal to 200,000. Same, if I see the difference between contribution and fixed cost, I am left with 0. Means here I am able to recover all my cost, be it a variable cost or a fixed cost, but I am not making any profits. Any number of units sold beyond 1000 will give you profits. Let's take another example. If I sell 1200 units or say 2000 units, okay, the selling price is 300, the sales will be 600,000 and variable cost will be definitely 200,000 with a contribution of 400,000. From here, if I deduct 200,000 as fixed cost, it gives me a profit of pure 200,000, which means if I sell 2000 unit, I will get a profit of 200,000. This is how you try to find out whether you want to invest in anything or not, if it's a short term decision. Graphically, you can see break even like this. Fixed cost will remain this. Variable cost will be like this, and selling price will be like this. Total cost, variable cost, fixed cost. The point at which fixed cost and variable cost and total cost meets, this point is called break even point, and this area is called margin of safety. Now the question arises, what is margin of safety? The gap between estimated sales output and level by which company sale could decrease before the company becomes unprofitable. Means the current sales minus break even point give you margin of safety. Current sales, say for example current sales is 200,000 or say 600,000 and I am selling 2000 units. The current sales is 600,000 minus break even sales. So how much is break even sales? It is 200,000, right? Divided by current sales, which is 600,000, will give me margin of safety. 400,000 divided by 600,000 into 100. Percent means 66.667% is margin of safety. And why we do this contribution margin analysis? Analyzing the contribution margin helps strategic managers to make several types of decision, from whether to add or subtract a product line. So if you do a break even analysis and a margin of safety for certain product line, like here can be chairs, and if it's a company which is in furniture making, chairs, table, bed, dining. If we find out margin of safety and break even for each product line, it will give manager an understanding of how to price a product first and to structure sales commission. The most common use is to compare product and determine which to keep and which to get rid of. Suppose I find that even my break even point is very high, or it is not making any profits, there is less margin of safety, I can get rid of a particular product line. So this is how, or reason, this is the reason why we do break even analysis. Or if suppose I have to start up my business, I try to find out at what or how many units sold I will reach break even. This is the whole concept of break even. Very important to go through the topic. A link will be provided to you and you have to go in depth. You have to go through the topic again and again unless you understand the concept. I hope my clarification on the topic has given you a fair idea of the concept. And let's move forward with long-term decision making. Long-term decision making. long term decision making are typically in a form of capital expenditures. Whether a company wants to buy a machinery which will increase capacity of production, this can be one question. The other can be purchase of land versus renting or taking a space on rent. Next example can be any sort of fixed asset purchase which can help in revenue generation. Now the point is, if say for example I say buying a machinery will increase my capacity of production by 50%. Based on this 50%, or since the production capacity is increasing by 50%, I will have a increase in sales by 20%, which means there will be maybe a net profit, or let's say increase in sales by 20%. Just by seeing this 20% increase in sales, should I be going for buying a machinery? The answer is no. There is something called cost benefit analysis, which is done with the help of certain tools. Means you try to understand the cost which your company is spending versus benefits. Benefits can be both tangible and intangible benefits. If the company is doing such type of analysis, this analysis will give company a idea of actually they should go for this capital expenditure or not. So first of all, let's talk about revenue generation and capital expenditure. The expenses of the company are of two types: capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. Capital expenditures are typically one-time large purchase of fixed assets that will be used for revenue generation. Means more sales can be attracted, more income can be attracted over a longer period of time, whereas revenue expenditures are ongoing operating expenses which are short-term expenses used to run daily business operations. So revenue generation is what? Revenue expenditures are what? Those expenses which are used for operating business. For example, if I buy land, it will not get exhausted tomorrow. But if I buy a packet of bread, it will definitely get consumed in a day or two. So such expenses which is an ongoing nature are called revenue expenses. The expenses which are not in ongoing nature, they are done once in a while and for which the benefits can be reaped for a longer period of time, such expenses are called capital expenses. So now it is important to understand how do you do this cost benefit analysis. Cost everybody will know. Say suppose I want to buy a machinery and it cost me 2 million. This is my cost. But how do I determine the benefits? So the benefits can be determined by adding on, or we can say submission of cash inflow during the period in which machinery operates. When we add those, it gives us benefit. Comparing cost versus benefit will give strategic manager an idea of whether he should go for buying or incurring capital expenditure or not. How? If cost is greater than benefit, no. If cost is less than benefit, yes. Now the question arises, I am finding out cost benefit. Cost I am incurring now means year 0, but benefits I will be reaping in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and on and on. So if my cost of machinery is 2 million and in year 1 I got 500,000 as a cash inflow, in second year I got 600,000 as cash inflow, third year 700,000 as cash inflow, 800,000, 900,000, 1 million, is my cash flows, or say not 1 million, say 500,000 again and 300,000 in 6th year. If I do summation of all these inflows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it gives me $3.4 million cash inflow. From this, if I minus my cash outflow in the current year, the first year, it will give me full 1.4 million of net profit. Is it a true net profit? If I am a strategic manager, I will say no. The cost is correct, but the benefits are not. The benefits which I am getting in 6th year, their present value now will be something else. If I get in 5th year, something else right now. So it is, there comes a concept of present value. There comes a concept of present value. Now, what is present value? The question comes, what is present value? Let's take a simple example. The 1 rupee value right now, the 1 rupee value right now is not the same as after 5 years. If you are able to purchase 1 candy with 1 rupee right now, you might not be able to purchase 1 candy in 1 rupee after 5 years, which means the value of money usually is decreasing. As the value of money is decreasing at a certain rate, the money which you are getting in the 6th year will definitely not be same in year 0, means right now. So now the question arises, how you calculate present value. There is a concept called net present value. The calculation can be done this way. NPV is equal to R divided by 1 plus T raised to power T minus, means summation of this, minus cash outflow. Now the question comes, what is R? R is revenue in various years. Okay. I means interest rate or discounting rate. T is time factor. Now let's apply this formula here in this question. How do you do it? If say suppose your discounting factor is 10%, means if you put this money somewhere else, means the opportunity cost foregone is say suppose 10%. In that case, how do you have to apply this 500,000 divided by 1 plus 0.1 raised to power 1. Similarly, 600,000 divided by 1.1 raised to power 2. Year on year, the T value of T changes. 700,000 divided by 1.1 raised to power 3. 800,000 divided by 1.1 raised to power 4, and 500,000 divided by 1.1 raised to power 5. Similarly, 300,000 raised to power divided by 1.1 raised to power 6. if we calculate all these and we find out a sum of these, and then we deduct our investment from our revenue generation, it will give us net present value. I would suggest to try it on your own. Please practice this. This is one of the most important concept or financial tool used to take a decision of whether to buy an investment or whether to invest in certain capital expenditure or not. So once you do it, it will give you exact picture of what is your net present value. Then you can actually decide whether you want to go for a particular investment or not. If net present value is positive, then it is worth going for investment. If it comes negative, then investment is not fruitful. This I is also known as internal rate of return, IRR. Now we will talk about various factors that needs to be taken into account when understanding investment appraisal. Means when you are trying to do any investment, what all things are there you have to keep into account. What are those? Number one is past costs. Means the cost which are incurred in past by the investor, if any. The second is future cost. Means right now you are putting your investment, and are there any further costs which are associated with it? Such costs are called future costs. So these costs are also very important to take into consideration while you do your investment appraisal. The third one is opportunity cost. The third one is opportunity cost. As we have already discussed the concept of opportunity cost, these costs are the costs which you forego. So suppose you want to make an investment of 200,000 rupees somewhere, and for that purpose because you are putting it somewhere else, you are foregoing an already interest of 5% per annum on 200,000. The amount which you are foregoing, that amount is called opportunity cost. These opportunity costs needs to be taken into consideration while you do the investment. Means whatever investment you do and whatever is the return on that investment, the return should be greater than this 5% of opportunity cost. The next important point is taxation. Is there any taxation on it? While you invest, is there any interest which you have to pay while you invest? So all these are the important costs which you have to take into consideration while you forecast your investment, while you plan for your investment. There are other associated costs also sometimes. So suppose you are investing in some business, there are other associated costs like advertisement, like training and development. Such type of cost, overall cost, should be considered while you appraise your financial investment. While you appraise your financial investment. Now, somebody can ask you, what is the importance of management information in investment appraisal decisions? So, managers use investment appraisals to evaluate whether future profits from the project will be greater compared to its cost and the risk. So, when you did all these activities, it will give you your cost. Now, it is the requirement of a manager to see that the cost is greater than the investment. Do you remember we did cost benefit analysis, which means all the cost which you incurred should be greater than your investment return. Return means your benefits. So that cost versus investment benefit should be taken into consideration while you appraise your investment proposal. Also, very important is you have to take into consideration various risks. So, if the project is really risky, you should think twice before you invest into some project. So, it is very important three things are very important for any investment appraisals: associated cost, both in form of notional or actual cost, and its benefits. With this, you can arrive easily with the outcome of whether you want to invest into in a project or not. Apart from that, you have to take the third important thing that you have to take into consideration is the risk factor involved. Very important. So if the project is very risky, you have to find out whether you should go for the project or not. This decision making is really important. For this, again I am repeating: associated cost, which is notional and actual cost, its benefit means revenue, and the risk factors involved. These three are very important to appraise any financial investment project. With this, our learning outcome finishes.